Hello, hello.
That's our opening now.
That's our opening now. We're just rolling with it.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Gentle Power.
For those who are watching via video, we are recording this podcast during a layover on our way to Korea.
For context, we've started keeping our chit-chat short, but I feel like
It's kind of an
this is an interesting... So we were in New York because Alex had the coolest gig. Would you say it's the coolest gig?
I think it's the coolest and I think the biggest DJ gig I've ever had yet.
Yeah, even though you opened for the Chainsmokers and you were on the lineup opening for Black Coffee, one of our favorite DJs. This one was your first real festival. You did DJ at another local...
That was a more grassroots festival, but this was a very legit festival. It was an event called City of Gods in Brooklyn, New York City. Mm-hmm. I got the opportunity through our Burning Man camp, Titanic's Ends. They are involved with a lot of other Burning Man or even music events outside of Burning Man itself. And so it was in Industry City, Brooklyn, in this massive complex of buildings, both indoors, outdoors. There were about a dozen very, very famous big Burning Man camps involved. It was a Halloween event, and everyone was in costume. There were all these cool rooms to explore. All these experiences. There was a jazz speakeasy.
Oh, that was my favorite.
Yeah, there was a live jazz band. There were different rooms where they would give you snacks and just all these nooks and crannies to explore. And as part of this event, Titanic's End and another Burning Man camp, very well known, Playa Alchemist, we shared the main stage in the biggest location within the entire event. This was a 2-day festival. I've heard it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Halloween party or event on the East Coast every year. So that was last night. We were there all night, and I DJ'd there along with a couple other Titanic's End DJs, Selena and Nat, who are so talented.
So good.
So the three of us were representing Titanic's End. Playa Alchemist had their own DJs, but it was I think I'm still digesting it. It was mind-blowing.
You were incredible.
Thank you. And you're not just saying that because you're my unofficial and official DJ manager, right?
I can't remove my bias, but I genuinely think you were amazing.
Oh.
You DJ'd 9 to 11 p.m.
I opened up the whole event because it started right at 9. So when I started DJing, there wasn't a single person on the dance floor.
Yeah, because who gets there at 9 when the event just starts?
Well, although all our friends showed up.
Yeah, our friends showed up.
Yeah.
That was so nice. We actually brought some friends from SF, which is so sweet, and it reminds me of Albania because in Albania, people like travel around with their entire extended family. And by people, I mean me, my family. We go everywhere together.
So we had a strong San Francisco contingent out in Brooklyn, and it was very cool that a lot of them came out. I think they were already coming for the event, City of Gods. It's people will travel to go to this show, but the fact that I was opening the entire event with a 2-hour DJ set, that was super cool. So by the end of my set, I played a 2-hour set. By the end, 11 p.m., it was completely packed. I think there were probably 1,000 people in front of us. It was, and also insane. Titanic's End, there are some very talented VJs, those who do a lot of audio for visuals, projection mapping on the, we might have to include a link or something just to show people what this was like.
That was one of my favorite things, other than your set, was the industrial feel, the warehousey vibe, and then the absolute coolest projections on the walls of the buildings, and you feel like you're outside. And it reminded me of my childhood. I used to play outside when I was a kid. I don't know if kids play outside anymore, but literally outside your building, not
at a park
grounds,
or a playground.
Playgrounds. We would just play literally outside your own building with your neighbors, and I felt a bit like that. And the projections were absolutely incredible.
The lasers. It was festival level. Just imagine the level
production
of audio, visual lasers that you would see at a massive festival,
probably like Coachella
or something. And just being on that stage with all of that visual and laser support, I literally felt like John Summit, like at the front. Yo, let's go! It was very, very cool experience.
I wonder if our audience knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Who's John Summit? What's Coachella?
We'll drop some links in the show notes.
I'm curious how familiar our audience is. But anyway, this is a huge milestone in your DJ journey, so it was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting because so people ask us a lot, is Alex DJing full time? And I'm like, correction, he's my co-founder for yournegotiations.com as a full-time co-founder. However, you invest a lot of time and effort into your DJ journey, which I'm fully supportive of. And we do get clients from, for example, we went to New York and we're meeting with people and some of them become clients. Mm-hmm. And
it's not uncommon for us to find new clients on the dance floor, at these music events. Yeah. There's so much overlap between the tech world, the music scene, all the different events going on in San Francisco and our wider community, that it's very cool that our business and our hobbies are right at the intersection of all of that.
Yeah.
So we were at this festival. So after my set, we also stayed to support the other DJs who were part of Titanic Sand. A lot of our friends were there. We were also just enjoying the event and the party. All that to say, we stayed there for basically the entire thing till 5 a.m. It was all night long. We had a flight out of New York.
But for the record, 5 a.m. in New York is because we were still jet lagged, so it's only 2 a.m. That's when we sleep on weekdays at 2 a.m.
we're kind of night owls. Our clients will know that. We will sometimes send emails in the middle of the night. They're like, are they in a different time zone? No, we're just in San Francisco right now.
Yeah, we're just night owls.
So we went straight from the party back at our friend Izzy and Marcus's home where we were staying. We packed super fast. Got on our flight, hadn't slept all night.
We did take a half an hour nap.
We did take a 30-minute nap, but it felt a little dangerous.
We set 3 alarms.
So we just flew from New York to San Francisco. We happened to have a 12-hour layover in San Francisco on our way to Korea because we're going on a family trip with my parents, my sisters, all our extended family.
Exciting.
It'd be really fun. We'll provide an update on that trip afterwards. We're going to a few cool destinations in Korea. But on this 12-hour layover, we couldn't go back home. Are we allowed to say that? No. Maybe we cut this out. Yeah. On this 12-hour layover, we
decided to spend it at our friend's Ben's place.
So that's where we are right now.
I wish we could show. It's so beautiful what we're seeing, like the views and...
Yeah, I just don't want to mess with... I'm so tempted to turn around. So our friend Ben, his home is a kind of a San Francisco institution.
Mm-hmm.
He is a
It's part
founder.
of the zeitgeist.
It's part of the zeitgeist, yes. He's a founder. Ben and I and our extended friends, we also do a lot of music things. We DJ. There are a lot of producers and musicians and artists who are part of our community here.
And he has an engineering background. He went to MIT. I think he studied... Was it mechanical engineering? This is relevant because I think he built Pixel himself.
Yeah, so his home is unofficially or maybe officially referred to as Pixel. And the reason is because right behind this camera, there's a really, really cool art project. Right? Yeah, it's been here for years, but it's a wall with all these pixels that will move and interact. And
I'm gonna take a picture and we can add it.
Okay, yeah, you should do that. It'll be like Be Real.
Yeah.
Projection this way and what our POV is that way. His home is called Pixel. It's a gathering place, and Ben is out of town right now at Amsterdam Dance Event. It's like a South by Southwest, but for the music, at the house and techno music or scene around the world.
Yeah.
So he's there right now. He said, yeah, of course you can stay at my place for a little bit during your layover. We show up, we're by ourselves, we know no one is here. Ben is out of town. And about half an hour into our stay here, we hear the door open. Yeah. And then our friends Natalie and Brian show up.
A couple show up.
And they were here to work on some sort of music
art
project that they have for an event coming up. And then 2 hours later,
another couple that are friends of ours show up.
Yeah, so Ben and Selena.
All of a sudden, it was a reunion.
It was a reunion, completely unplanned, but Ben's home is like a third place. Yes. It's just a gathering place. People come and go, even when Ben is traveling out of the country. He doesn't even know who comes and goes here. And he has such a cozy, vibey home.
Oh, and fun fact, we were partying with his landlord in New York.
Oh yeah. So everything's connected. Yeah.
It's such a small world.
That's a very long way of saying that is why our environment right now is different. We're recording in a different place. We thought we would squeeze in a few recordings before we are off to Korea. So
I think we should get started.
Let's get started. That was enough. That was a lot of chit chat that we made up for by not having a lot of chit chat in previous episodes. So
cool. I hope it was fun for people. So the topic for today is how to negotiate when you have a personal contact who got you in the door, how to handle things tactfully and not burn bridges, not make it awkward, and not come on too strong.
Yeah, so a lot of people, when they approach us interested in working with us, a very common scenario is, hey, I got this opportunity that I'm interviewing for right now through an ex-coworker or through my old boss. Mm-hmm. They hit me up, and it was through a warm connection that I got into the interview process. So when it comes to negotiations, a very common question they have is, will it be weird or burn bridges if I negotiate? I don't want to make it seem like I'm being too greedy, especially because my hiring manager is my old boss or someone that I know, or I don't want, if I'm negotiating with a recruiter and maybe the recruiter then tells this person who referred me, man, this person that you referred is being super stingy or they're pushing for more. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to address this, just how to think about negotiations within this context. Still try to maximize your own priorities or comp increases, whatever it is that you care about, but doing it in a way where you're being extra tactful, keeping in mind the relationship that was there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have some thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
Some foundational things to get out of the way are, in an ideal world, and I understand that people have constraints like time and resources. In an ideal world, you want to always keep a pulse on your market value. So not necessarily having active interviews, but at least having some conversations that could lead to interviews, like networking or talking to recruiters, especially for people who are our target audience and the types of people we work with. Most of them are execs and the rest are mid-careers in tech and tech adjacent companies. But basically that type of persona gets reached out to very often, at minimum on LinkedIn DMs, by recruiters, third party or in-house. Hey, your profile seems like a good fit for our company. And so it's good to have some conversations that are either always simmering, or you could easily pick up the phone or touch base and you're like, hey, now I'm ready to have some conversations. Mm-hmm. The reason why I say that is because we've had a recent client. The person who approached them was someone they had worked with. And this client happened to have revealed that I'm not having any other conversations. I'm happy where I'm at. Mm. The thing is that you think that you have leverage by saying I'm happy where I'm at, win me over. Mm-hmm. But the real leverage, the problem with that is that they know where you're at and they most likely know how much you're being paid, whether just from market data or because they might know someone at your company. Your cards are very visible where you're at. Mm-hmm. I mean, you might have maybe you're like an absolute top performer and they couldn't have known that, and you have the most amazing refreshers or bonuses or things like that, and you can communicate that. But where you're at, your cards are very transparent. You don't have that much leverage. And the other part is that if you get to the point where you get an offer, the fact that you put in so much time and effort into the interview process, it means that you are open to leaving your current company. So you don't have that much leverage there. In the job offer negotiations, the real leverage is having another offer, and one that the company that you're negotiating with doesn't know much about, because their fear is that it's a competitor and they might be paying you more, and now the competitor won over a talent that they wanted. And so the problem with this client, my hands are tied, because the client said, I already told them I'm happy where I'm at, I wasn't looking. And so normally I would say, when you negotiate, leverage other conversations, other opportunities that you have. But the client had already said they weren't looking. Mm-hmm. And so to avoid this mistake, and also just good common practice, is for you to, as often as you can, ideally always have a pulse on your market rate and have some conversations here and there just to see what's out there and what types of offers you would get. And what types of companies you could interview with. And that avoids the mistake.
What about a situation where, so I was talking to someone earlier who's interested in potentially working with us, and he's currently at a company. It's a very similar situation. Someone that he used to work with reached out to him to start interviewing, and he told me that he's not interviewing with anywhere else. I'm only looking at this one opportunity because they reached out to me.
Yeah.
He's currently at a job that he's happy at, but what about in his case, then should he at least apply to another company or two so that he has multiple opportunities going on?
Yeah, I mean, here are the trade-offs. In an ideal world, yes, you apply to other companies. In an absolute ideal world, you get other offers and you don't talk about the details of the offers with the company you're negotiating with. Now, I want to be mindful that, our clients, again, are mostly execs in big tech and the rest are mid-career. They're very busy, and that coincides with an age where a lot of them have kids and or parents who are getting older. Their lives are very busy and their current jobs are very busy. And so I understand, and I want to be mindful. I don't want to be as flippant as like, go get another offer, especially in this market, which is so hard and it's an employer's market. But yes, in an ideal world, you have another offer, ideally with a competitor, but just any other offer is good. On the other hand, if you don't have the time and bandwidth and space, at least have some conversations. And the reason is also because you are an example of this. You were won over by the plan B company.
Yeah.
So you want to tell more about that?
Yeah. So before we started yournegotiations.com, when I was working in the corporate world, I was applying to new jobs. I was in process with this company that I absolutely loved. I adored. I loved meeting everyone on the team. It was the exact type of work that I was interested in.
Yeah.
And I had received an offer already at that point, but there was a second company that was kind of long shot, or I was just, hey, it does seem very interesting.
Yeah, but you weren't in love with it.
I wasn't in love with it, but when I received an offer from company one that I adored,
Yeah.
I had just gotten an interview, my first interview with that second company.
Yeah.
And I was very, very tempted to just go with this first offer, try to maybe negotiate that, but you strongly encouraged.
Please do I think there was a take-home
There's a take-home assignment. I kind of didn't want to do the take-home assignment. It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, you pulled an all-nighter, I think, to get it done.
And so you had strongly encouraged me to still go through with this other
Just go
job.
through, see what happens.
I also told that company that I did receive another offer. They expedited things, and I ended up getting that other offer. And now I had two offers. After the negotiation and really exploring and thinking about my options, in the end, I ultimately accepted the offer from company two, the one that I had almost dismissed.
Yeah, because I think you fell in love with them and the team. The offer was so much better than the company A. And so back to my point is that talking to other companies, who knows, you might end up falling in love with another company than the one that you have your eyes on or the one you're negotiating with now.
And we've seen this happen with a lot of our clients as well.
Right. We've seen this happen with our clients. They might give you an incredible offer and that might help with their negotiation, or even just getting another offer in and of itself helps with the negotiation. But again, if you don't have the time and space and bandwidth, it's okay to at least entertain some conversations, because as you're negotiating, your subtext and your demeanor is different when you have other options, especially if they're exciting, as opposed to you have nothing else. Like, they can pick this up. It's very subconscious, both on your end and on their end. They can pick that up.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, one other thing that I was going to say in the context of how do I handle negotiations? Do I handle them differently if I was referred by someone? One thing to think about is that number one is that if a contract has not been signed, the average business person knows that it's not guaranteed that it will go through. We know this just from life experience. Until something is signed, it could fall through at any point. And what that means is, just because someone referred you to a job doesn't mean that they think you will for sure accept it, because you haven't signed. A job offer is just like any other business contract, where if it's not signed, it's not a done deal yet. The other side of this is that just because they referred you, that doesn't mean you're going to get an offer either. And so you can think of both of these. You don't owe them a yes just because they referred you, and they don't owe you an offer just because they referred you. I know it's awkward and there's all these social contracts and all that, but at the end of the day, it is ultimately a business contract where no one owes anyone anything, and it's not a done deal until it's signed. Which brings me to the next point, which is just like any other negotiation, you want to handle it with a lot of care, with a lot of professionalism, and showing gratitude and excitement. So I wouldn't change much in how you negotiate just because you're referred by someone. Ultimately, just from first principles, as I went through, it is just like any other negotiation. The one thing is that you might have a slight advantage where you might be a bit more preferred than most other candidates. We don't know, maybe other people were referred by someone internal as well. So there's that. But at least you can relax a little bit into, as you're negotiating, a lot of recruiters kind of disappear at one point. They pull back a little towards the end, and a lot of our clients freak out at that time. They're very anxious, which is very normal. But the reassurance is that you were referred by someone internally. They're not going to ghost you, and it doesn't make sense for them to rescind the offer unless you were very rude or anything like that. So there's some peace of mind. If you were referred by someone internally, expect a little bit more of good behavior from the company side.
Yeah. What about, this isn't an edge case, but I have seen this with people who approach us.
Yeah.
The internal referral that they received, let's say from company A, is not their top choice. And so they know that they're going through the motions and trying to get an offer. And also they worry that if I negotiate so strongly and I don't end up accepting it, and I kind of already know that because I'm way more excited about this opportunity, how should I handle that?
Yeah. This comes back to the same idea that I mentioned earlier. Just because they referred you, they don't owe you a job offer. You might not get the offer. And just because they referred you, you also don't owe them a yes. The entire interview process is essentially, it's almost like dating. You're not promising each other to get married necessarily. You're exploring if it's a good fit. And if you want, if you're really worried about this, you can massage with your contact as you keep them in the loop on how the interviews are going. You can say like, oh, it looks like it might be a good fit, or like, I'm trying to figure out if this is a mutually good fit, to imply that you're not 100% yes. And again, there is a bit of pragmatism that is important here. Like I said, ultimately it is business, and it's okay to negotiate because that's just what we do in business. It will help with your leverage. And at the end of the day, they might give you an offer that absolutely blows you away. That has happened. It's happened with us, and many of our clients, as they negotiate with one company and another, they love one company, but then this other company just all of a sudden they're throwing so much money at them, and like, oh wait, actually this is a better deal. So
going into it with the mindset, look, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
It's worth pushing as far as I can on all these opportunities.
Yeah. They might surprise me.
Yeah, in the interest of what is best for me, depending on everything that I'm looking at right now.
And when you say it's worth pushing as much as I can, we know what we mean by that. We mean very gently, very professionally, without jeopardizing the relationship and the offer. But I want to make sure that that's what people hear, as opposed to we're pushing.
We're trying to squeeze as much as out of them.
No, that's not our approach at all. We're not trying to squeeze every dime. We're not trying to strong arm people into a tough negotiation. When we say go as far as possible within the parameters of like preserving the relationship. Yeah.
And I think we can wrap it up here, but with a final note where when you mentioned how this is similar to dating, just because you met someone that you went on dates with through a friend's introduction doesn't mean that you owe them getting married, right? Yeah. So if you just think about it in that context, both sides are just trying to see if it's the best fit. And if we're able to find a deal, it's a win-win for everyone, materializes in an offer and you working there, then that's great. And I think that should be the mentality that people take going into the job search.
I agree. And maybe someday we will do a dating negotiations parallel.
You have been asked by
so many people.
A lot of people, and even a past client, if you also do dating consulting.
Oh my gosh, I was almost about to take on a negotiations client as a dating client.
It never happened.
It never happened just because I would have had to put together materials and the whole program. So
yeah,
wow.
But I wonder if people now reach out to us, say,
Let's
hey,
see.
when's that program ready?
Let's see if there's demand. I think that would be exciting. I mean, we've been together 14 years, married for 10. We're so happy, and we're always growing and working on our relationship. So we have a lot to share in that area.
Yeah, and you do informally advise a lot of our friends on their dating life, relationship stuff.
Sometimes I have 5 friends at a time sending me screenshots. He said this, and then what did I say to this? Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a great place to wrap.
Awesome.
And we'll see you on the next episode of Gentle Power.
Bye.